I was watching Andy Edwards talk about how much he loves ZZ Top, how he goes on, but that guy knows his stuff. However, one thing he admitted he doesn't know is ZZ Top's latter-day albums. So I thought, for Andy and those watching, I'm gonna rank the 5 albums ZZ Top made after their MTV period, when they finished the contract with Warner's. All these albums offer much more of a guitar-driven sound than the synth stuff they were doing in the 80s. Some are bluesier than others, some have better tracks than others, but all I'd say are worth a listen. At number 5, I'm going with XXX or 30 from 99 to mark the 30th anniversary. This is, in my opinion, by far the weakest of these albums. It's very sludgy, kind of incorporating elements of rap and someday hip-hop, but for most of the album, the songwriting just isn't there. There are a few tracks that are quite fun. I kind of enjoy Crucifix and Flat, a kind of bluesy rap about Jesus, but it's far from top. However, the album is saved by a couple of live tracks at the end. Unfortunately, the one track featuring Jeff Beck, Hey Mr. Millionaire, in my opinion, is kind of a down. Sorry, Jeff, but this is just kind of heavy, sludgy stuff which doesn't really go anywhere. Sorry, Jeff, but elsewhere there's Sin Pusher, a wonderful remake of Pincushion that's perhaps heavier than the original, which is saying something. There's Belt Buckle, which is a lovely, just simple blues shuffle that's really fun, like the track alone. And there's also a cover of Let Me Be Your Teddy Bear, which they turn into like a rehash of Jesus Left Chicago, but hell, I love Jesus Left Chicago, so even if it's got the lyrics of Let Me Be Your Teddy Bear, I'm still gonna love it. So this album saved by these live tracks, but overall not one of the best. At number 4, I'm going with La Futura from 2012. I've done a whole video on this album, so if you want to hear me cover it in more detail, watch that. But this is ZZ Top's perhaps their closest attempt to capture the early sound like the brilliant albums Tres Hombres and Rio Guatemala, which is great. But I guess the one drawback is the songs are okay, but second in comparison to the songs they made back in the 70s. So you end up rather listening to those albums than this album, but still it's very enjoyable and nice to hear them sound like they did in the early days. At number 3, I'm going with Mescalero from 2003. This is a long and incredibly enjoyable, stylistically varied album. In fact, I'm only putting it at number 3 as being longer than the other two. It's got a few more duds on it, but maybe that's not really fair. It's got some wonderful bluesy track. It's also got like a strong Latin vibe going through it. I strongly recommend the track Alligator with some very interesting accordion which just mixes with Billy's crunching guitar so well. And it's also got some like new metal influences, which I guess was hip at the time. I quite enjoy the track Two Ways to Play, which is very much ZZ Top's style, but kind of new metal that was hip in the early to mid 2000s. A very enjoyable record. You should get it. At number 2, I'm going with the first of RCA, Antenna from 94. Some say this album was a digression because in some ways it's even less bluesy than the previous album, Recycler from 1990. However, despite being surprisingly unbluesy, there's a nastiness to this album. There's an attack to it. It's much more guitar-based than anything they did in the 80s and Recycler, and some of the songs are fucking great. It opens with Pincushion, which I kind of mentioned before, a monstrously heavy song that just sounds pissed. Got a bloody amazing riff work from Billy Gibbons. Such a great hard rock song, and what a fantastic video it has. The guitar work is fantastic on this album, whether it's the fun, funky fuzzbox voodoo, the beautiful melancholic breakaway, or hard rockers like world of swell. This is a hard-working record, and my God, it walks. And at number one, I'm going with Me from '96. This is the album where they finally ditched the drum machine and got back to some good dirty blues rock. I mean, it's more than a little bit dirty, it's sludgy, the guitars are too wide down. I mean, there's one track which I believe Billy tuned his guitar down 4 semitones. I mean, I don't know that much about that kind of side to music theory, but I've heard that is insane. The guitar strings apparently felt like elastic bands. There's a couple of tracks, but that may be weaker than others. But overall, there's so many brilliant, sludgy, bluesy walkers, like the title track, which sounds insanely wonderful, kind of fuzzy, grubby, dirty. I love it. There's the spooky blues epic, Vincent Price Blues, and there's the single What's Up With That, a kind of softer, thought-provoking track, again with guitars tuned wide down so low. And as Tarantino fans already know, that she's just killing me. A blistering, hard as nails, blues rocking frenzy, which is just wonderful, and one of my favorite ZZ Top songs. It is wonderful. Buy this record. Okay, that has been my ranking of the ZZ Top 5 albums after the MTV period. What did you think? Do you like it? Was it a fair ranking? Why not tell me below and whack that like button. Thank you. Goodbye.